All right, welcome to the next level. Got my man Lou Joseph with us today.
Yeah, man.
How's it going, Lou?
It's going great.
Awesome. You are going great. You're selling a bunch. You just came back from the cruise.
Yeah, Top Producers Cruise.
How was that?
One. It was the best.
Yeah?
Man. So good. The ship was enormous, way bigger than last November's,
Yeah.
which we had a great time on. But yeah, the ship was amazing. Like 6,500 people on it.
Wow.
Like over 2,000 crew members. So it's like close to 9,000 people. I
Yeah.
mean, there was areas in that ship that like we were the only people on it. I
Wow.
mean, like where are all the people? I mean, it's just so big. You know, it was great. So thankful to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Just a great time being around top producers. You know, I mean, everybody at the top of their game right now. I mean, I just came back with so much. I came back with so much. So juiced.
Yeah.
You know, big time.
Good, good. So
yeah.
second, you went to both cruises. Now, I'm sure you probably heard there's a little rumor going around that there's a Cancun trip next year. So
Yeah.
no cruise, but at a resort. So we're
had my honeymoon in Cancun. It was
okay.
great. Yeah.
So you're gonna want to go back then?
Yeah, my wife was pregnant. She didn't really enjoy it that much.
Well, you can bring her this time.
She'll like to go back
Awesome.
there. Yeah.
Now, you're selling a lot of IULs now, right?
Yeah.
Still doing some final expense.
I do everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when did you get into the IUL space?
Well, I was like, I mean, I wasn't the first guy to do IULs, but I was like, I did IULs, right off the jump in 2019. I used to get yelled at a lot for doing them, but I had really good success. I mean, I won the Mutual of Omaha, the IUL, thing. I got that, trip. I used to have to keep my mouth shut about selling those, but I was a believer in them then, and
now you can come here and scream about them.
Yeah. So now it's a thing, right? So I one of my agents down in Nashville, Kurt, was on IUL platform. And he was really found a niche there, and he was on me for like the last year to get on it. And I was like, all right, I have Mail Pro leads that I've been, running my new agents with, and I pick up enough business to keep me going and keep me out of trouble. So I made the commitment, and I'm on it now. It's a virtual platform. I run 3 states: Mass, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And a lot of self bookings, but then you dial the rest. And it's a Google platform, Google AdWords, not a Facebook, which is hugely, important because the quality of the product is going to be a lot better with someone searching for that.
Absolutely.
Rather than just clicking. click.
I'm going to throw 2 statements at you, Lou. You let me know if you agree or not, okay?
ahead.
So, because these are statements I've heard.
Sure.
First statement is you can't sell IULs virtually.
Okay, that is 100% not true.
You don't agree with that at all?
No, not at all.
Second one is IULs are simple.
Okay, yeah, they are simple. I
Okay,
agree with that.
and that's what I want to talk about today, because there's this misconception that IULs are complicated. I can't get into IULs until I've sold insurance for 5. Like there's all this I call it silliness, I guess.
Yeah.
And you would disagree with the silliness.
Yeah, 100%. So now, I mean, our company is, made great strides in that arena.
Yeah.
So you have the IUL boot camp, right? So we're, as my wife's my admin, Amy, she has been since day one. So, with corporate, you can't even contract with National or F&G or Athene or any of these advanced market segments until you complete our IUL boot camp.
Okay.
So that alone is going to give you, for a new agent, even if you're brand new, it's going to give you a great understanding of
how long does
IULs.
the boot camp take to get through?
It's like a couple hours. Nothing.
Got it.
And it's great. I did it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Right.
I want to see everything. So, I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I told my agent to watch this and I never watched it. So, no. So it's great. So there's a lot of tools out there. And plus, all you have to do is literally have a cell phone. You can go on YouTube and just type in IUL, and you're going to get every, 2-bit prognosticator from, putting their 2 cents in on
Correct.
it. And it's going to give you a great overview. And virtual sales, I think in today's busy, understand the audience. So IUL can be used for anything, So, I mean, on final expense, if the person's healthy, you're better off selling them an IUL in America or an IULE.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great retirement-focused product. But let's face it, when you're 63 years old, sort of the retirement ship has already sailed, right?
Right.
You're in death protection.
Correct.
So if you're healthy, you're going to get living benefits, and you're going to get a lot cheaper premium than a final expense product.
Yeah.
So you're going to give the clients more coverage, and it's going to cost them less money. But again, I want to segue. They have to be healthy because the underwriting is more stringent than final expense.
Yeah, it would be closer to a term underwriting.
Exactly.
Right.
Same exact underwriting.
Got it. So, all right, simplify the IUL for me. Lou, I know nothing about IULs. What are they used for? Why would my client want one?
Okay, so IUL is a product. It's the newest addition to the insurance marketplace. It was formed in '81 by E.F. Hutton.
Okay.
You know, remember him? You know, if you're that age, you see the commercials when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. You know, he got absorbed in the 2009 mortgage crash. The firm is no longer in business, but he was the architect of the IUL. So the reason why he started it is because he hated tax-deferred investments like 401ks, 4057s, 403s, Roths, anything like that, because he saw two problems with them. He saw, that money is subject to market loss. Mm-hmm. It's also subject to anywhere from 4 to 8% annual fees. And on top of that, it's taxation. So you're not paying tax right now.
Right.
You're going to pay tax at the end. So if you were a farmer, right, and you were going to plant your crop, right, and you went to the market and the market guy said, all right, listen, would you rather pay tax on the seed right now or would you rather pay tax on the crop when you bring it to market? You know, which would you
better
choose?
say the seed.
Right.
Yeah, because the seed's this big, the harvest could be, right?
Exactly.
Now, what about, I've heard this kind of counterpoint. Well, you know, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you're older. That's not necessarily true.
That's not necessarily true at all. I mean, if you and your wife are working and doing well, you could hit you could hit retirement at 30%, especially if you have a good size pension on top of
like
your
that wouldn't be
Social
a
Security.
goal of yours, right? To be in a lower tax bracket when I'm old. Like, wouldn't you'd want to have more assets?
No, you want to, like us, we want to hit the ground
Correct,
running, right?
yeah.
You want to hit the ground in retirement running. You don't want to force everything down. But even still, even if you force it down, that's, I mean, if you were able to put away $300,000 and you're at 20%, that's still $60,000. If you're at 30%, that's $90,000, right? That you're at Walmart. I mean, you're going to be working at Walmart, bro.
So then we agree, no one wants to pay tax on the harvest.
Nobody.
So that's where the IUL comes into
So
play.
those were the headwinds for regular tax deferred investment products, and now our situation in this country is even worse because, you know, if next year the Trump tax rollbacks go back, we're going to be at the highest taxation rate we've ever had, and we have $36 trillion worth of debt that you're not going to pay, and I'm not going to pay, and she's not going to pay. Our kids are going to pay, and their kids.
Correct.
So we could almost be entering into a situation in this country like Europe, austerity, where it's like every 50 cents, every dollar you make, 50 cents is going back to the government. You're going to get free, you know, garbage pickup and some crappy health plan, you know, and, you know, unfortunately, if that happens, the realization on any tax-deferred investment, you could be looking at less than a 4% return over 30 years. So, you know, case in point, my son and both my daughter have full, you know, max-funded IULs. And, you know, my son works at Costco. He runs a tire department in South Windsor. He's a manager. And, you know, he fully invests in his 401. You know, they give him a huge match. Costco's a great company to work for. But he loves his IUL. He max funds it because, you know, it's tax-free. He can take the money out. If he needed the money tomorrow, he could take that money out. He's had it for a couple years. After 12 months, you can take, you know, with most policies, you can have access to that money.
Yeah, talk about the tax-free, because that's something that, I mean, if you're hearing of IULs for the first time, that statement may sound a little silly. Like,
sure.
Tax-free? How can you be tax-free? So you're putting money in this IUL, right? How are you going to take out money tax-free?
Well, it's going to be through a loan that you just never pay back.
Okay.
So, you know, and that's 100% within the legal guidelines of the IRS SANS rule.
Right. Because when you take out a loan, like when you get a mortgage, you're not paying taxes on the mortgage. You'll pay taxes on the house itself, but not the loan, because the idea is to pay it back.
Correct.
But you said a loan that you never pay back. Explain that with an IUL.
Well, but when you enter your, like, if you're going to take money out, right, you can put it back in. So, like, a lot of people use them for infinity banking, right, to become their own banks, hard money.
We're talking the cash value that builds up.
Yeah, exactly. So you can max fund your IUL, like, in 7 years under the TAMR law, you know, 5 years, you know, in whole life. There's a lot of different options that you can do with that. But when that money's in there, after the 12th month, with most carriers, you can take 90% of that money out. And you can just put it back in, you know, and that money all comes out tax-free. Now, if you loan that money or use it for an investment, you know, you can loan that money at an interest rate, so you can make the money.
Got it.
And then you just pay it back. So a lot of people like to do that. But a lot of people also like to do these IULs for retirement focus, right? That's the primary thing, or education for their children.
Sure.
So if you have a 1-year-old, you can start an IUL for $150 a month, and when the child turns 18, there could be $300,000 in there.
Right.
You know, off a minimal amount invested. On top of that, the product gives you flexibility in the premium. So even if you set your target premium up at $300 a month, and you know something happens during that year where all of a sudden that $300 is insurmountable, you could pay $80.
Okay.
And you're not going to.
So you always could drop down to whatever the minimum.
And you can pay over.
Yeah.
You know, in most cases, if the IUL is properly set up, a properly set up IUL is an increasing death benefit and a solve based on cash, not insurance. That policy will grow very quickly in the cash portion, and the death benefit will grow very, to a huge amount, and not have that level death benefit.
Yeah.
So every year it's just going to get bigger.
I remember this book. This was 10, probably 15 years ago. Tax-free retirement. Patrick Kelly, maybe. But it talked about that using the IUL. I mean, when I first heard, I'm like, this sounds insane. But it's exactly what you're talking about. You invest in this IUL for years, and then it's for retirement. And the reason you're not paying the taxes is because at the retirement age, you're going to take out a loan. Maybe it's a monthly loan. It could be, $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. And then, you hear a loan, and you think, well, I have to pay it back. How does that money get paid back if you don't actually pay it back?
Well, it's just going to lapse out the policy. You don't want to surrender the policy because then you could be taxed on the appreciation of your money over a period of time. There's a calculation for that. So, you just do a tax-free withdrawal, set up a loan, and then you just don't pay it back. And see you later.
And you got cash value in there.
Yeah, of course.
Or
It's your money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just as easy as just like they don't even need us. I mean, they have a phone app.
Right.
They control their policy. They're like agents. I mean, the client can, set up their premium, drop their premium to minimum. They can overfund their policy from that. They can take the loan, transfer it right into their checking account.
Yeah.
They don't even need us, so they don't have to call anybody. There's a lot of great options, especially for self-employed people.
Yep.
I've been doing a lot of executive bonus plans, whereas the business maintains the insurance, they pay the premium. It's tax deductible to the business. And even like a bonus, like the cruise, 1099, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get it. I'm going to have to pay tax on that.
Sure.
You can even have the business pay that tax liability for you.
Got it.
So it's tax-free to you in the end. It's tax-free to your business, tax deductible to your business, and you don't even have to pay taxes on the executive bonus. A lot of Fortune 500s use this to retain top talent, right? Whereas, most people are not buying into the tax-deferred retirement. That's why this plan is blowing up so much. I mean, all of the younger generation, my daughter, my son, they're seeing this stuff on TikTok, and they're not buying into 401ks anymore. Right. They want liquidity, right? I mean, listen, if you have a life event and you need to go into your 401k, the only time that wasn't even a thing is during COVID. They relaxed those restrictions. That's great. You can spend your entire retirement buying groceries and toilet paper, right? Just what I wanted to do. Awesome. Great solution. But, under normal circumstances, if you have a life event, a child gets sick, you have to help a family member, something happens, you try to access that money, you could be looking at 40% of your money gone.
Yep.
With the penalty and then the tax liability. I mean, that is horrible.
Correct.
Right? And with this, you have that security of changing your premium every month. Try to do that with your HR lady. I mean, she'll throw you the hell out of your office in 2 seconds, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, I'm going to Disney World. Can I drop my 401k amount now? And unless you're like on Empower, you can do it over your phone. I mean, 90% of the people out there, you have to go sit there, and she's going to be like, no. It's not happening. So you just have no flexibility in that way. And I think that's what the big attraction is with these folks. And again, it's not a product for everybody because, I mean, on my leads, everybody wants it. So I get a lot of older people, right? They're 60s and 64. And, that conversation is like, hey, thanks for looking for the information, but not the best fit for you. And let me tell you why. Because it's not a magic wand. It's not a Powerball ticket. It's like any other investment. It's going to take time to grow.
Yeah.
And
be in there for the long game.
At 60, listen, the retirement has sailed.
Correct. Absolutely.
If you're looking to start your retirement at age 60, you better go spend $2 on a Mega Millions ticket, and that's where it's going to come from.
Now, as a brand new agent, what does an agent need to know about the IUL specifically before you think that they can go out and sell, or even have that conversation.
The best advice I can give you is go on to boot camp.
There you go. How do they access the boot camp?
Right on FFL. Your admin at your agency. You can't contract with, literally. It's not like when it was for me and they all complained. They're like, "Oh, did you have to do it?" And I'm like, "I didn't have to do it. I have watched it."
Yeah.
Because back then it was, we just did everything. You know, I mean, you could just do whatever you wanted. But now, we're trying to let the agents win, right?
Yeah.
And, you want to take that mystique away from, IUL, like you said, it could be, most people would think like annuities are complicated or IULs are complicated. They're not.
No.
They're not. These are simple products, but you need to have a little bit of education behind you to sell them effectively, because most people that are looking for these products know a little bit about them. So what you don't want to do is you can't fake it until you make it.
Correct.
With life insurance, you can, but not in advanced markets, because you could run across someone that's, had a self-managed IRA, has money in the market, has a 401k that they're active in, that they move their own money around, and they're going to be asking you poignant questions, and you're going to be like, and once you say, you're done. They're not going to trust you with that kind of money.
But to your point, you go through this couple hour, 2-3 hour boot camp, you have enough to where you can have these conversations. And it's just like anything. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to, be doing it.
And you got a lifeline. Reach out to your, if you're going to run your first IUL appointment, it's typically going to be a Zoom. Have me on it, or have your upline on it, right? Yeah. And then listen, I invited my boss. He sold, millions of dollars of these things. He's going to just sit in with, this is my first one. People love that.
Yeah.
It takes all the pressure off of
Absolutely.
you. It's like when you work at the car dealership and you say, "Hey, this is my first day." They're going to be like, "Oh, it's like,
I feel bad for you.
I knew a guy who worked there for like 20 years. Every customer, you would tell him this is my first day.
Right.
It didn't work when he ran across one of his old ones. They'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, like, you sold me a car 3 years ago. What are you talking about? I mean. It's a great product. It's amazing. We've seen sales go through the roof. We've also, from a quality of business standpoint, they stick a lot more.
I've never had a chargeback.
Never had an IUL chargeback.
Not one. Not since 2019. I've had deaths.
Yeah.
But I've never had anybody cancel one.
Now, what about finding the clients? Because you're doing some lead gen specifically for IUL clients, right? Yep. And you could either do your own lead gen, you can find some service. Like, what are you doing to find these clients right now?
Well, I have a lead platform that I like that is cost effective for me. It works out good for me. One of my agents down in Nashville, Kurt, was using it with his whole group down there. And they've all moved on now. They're self-genning. But, to me, I'm busy enough. I don't want to deal with Google people in India or, I'm good. I'd rather let, someone else come and fix my countertop, fix my car. I don't want to mess with any of that. If you're good at doing leads, then do leads for me. I'll pay you. So I'm on a lead campaign. I really like it. It gives me 3 states. The states I have are all Mass, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, because I can be anywhere in 2 hours from where I live. So I can actually meet my clients, which when I deliver the policies, I do that.
So do you sell on Zoom for IULs?
Yeah.
Or you do?
Yeah.
So you start off on Zoom.
Yeah, I 100%. I start off on the phone. I do a discovery call. And, it's usually 10 minutes.
Okay. What are you looking for in that call?
I want to let them know a little bit about me,
okay.
And just like, hey, this is me. This is my background, because, we're going to be together for a long time. It's, important that you know who I am, where I'm coming from. And then I'm going to ask you some financial questions. I'm going to ask you some medical questions because you got to medically qualify for it, right? So that's going to, if you're, having some health issues, it's not going to be a great product for you. You're going to have to move you into like a Fit Secure Plus, pay is.
How long does that call normally take?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes,
so you do that call, you realize, hey, great candidate for IUL, health-wise, probably going to qualify.
I have a worksheet, just like our worksheet in the house, take down all the information, go through the health, go through the financial.
Where do you go from there?
From there, right off after I get off the phone with them, I send them an email, which is like a form email. I change it for every customer, and it has like a leave behind with all our carriers, a little bit more about me, my license, my resident license for Massachusetts, my driver's license, my E&O insurance.
Okay.
Because like I told you, I was like I was doing virtual appointments in 2020 in January.
Tell no one.
I know, no one. Everyone, go outside and record this in the driveway and tell them you did it through the window. But I was good at it, and I was doing like $40,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I was under constant harassment for it, which is like, you know, whatever. But you know, the biggest thing I can leave anybody with when you're going to start virtual sales, no matter what type of sales, is it's a confidence game, right? Because what are we bombarded every day with? Like all these, you know, breaches, you know, like this company's getting hacked and your information's out there. So these people, they're like scared to death about giving their information out. So how do you overcome that? You have to build credibility. And when you have complete transparency, which I give my client right from the beginning, they have that email, they know, they have my driver's license.
Yeah.
Kurt's like, oh, you know, you didn't even cover up your driver's license number. I'm like, I have LifeLock. I don't care. Like Eric used to give him their social security card. He's like, you know, they wouldn't give him his social security card. He's like, well, you can have mine.
I've done that.
Right. You know, it's like, why? Because we have LifeLock. We don't care.
Right.
You know,
So you send him this email, give him your credentials.
And we set up a Zoom appointment.
Then you set up a Zoom.
Yeah. I always say, listen, at the end of this appointment, I'm going to ask you two most important questions. And the first question is going to be, what do you think is going to be in your budget to fund your retirement? Okay. And
you're doing that on the phone or that's on the Zoom? Okay, so you're getting that right.
There's no right or wrong answer. You can tell me whatever you want. I'm going to build you a couple illustrations north of that. I'm going to build you a couple illustrations south of that.
Okay.
So when we get back together, you're going to be able to see everything. Does that make sense? Great. And then this last question is, when are we getting back together? What's your schedule like? That's going to be the Zoom.
So you book that from the phone.
Yeah.
You send them the email.
Yeah.
You go back. You're preparing, 4 different illustrations?
I have the Go High Level CRM as part of the lead campaign.
Yep.
And basically, right when I'm still on the phone, I book that next appointment. It sends them the Zoom invite.
Okay.
So it's done. It's locked in. And then the CRM, up until that point, is going to send them daily reminders. Yeah. Oh, it's only 5 days to your next appointment. Okay. Only 4 days to your next appointment. And the people answer it like you're talking to a robot. You know, you know why? You know, it's not even me. I feel bad. I got to address that. But yeah. So then the day of the Zoom, I basically I have multiple screens. You know, and I move over. I have a spread. You know, like a PowerPoint presentation on IULs. You know. It's really short. It's like maybe 8 slides, you know.
How long does the Zoom normally take?
An hour. If I issue a policy, you know. So like the other day, I had a Zoom on Saturday and I issued 4 policies. So you know, the client called me. He wanted to make sure his daughter he just had a 1-year-old. So he wanted to make sure his daughter never wanted for anything. So we did $150 a month. We wrote her up. Then he wanted one. So I wrote him one up for $300. I wrote his wife up for $300, and then I did $1 million term for $40 through you know, LSW terms. So you know that I was on the phone with them for like 3 hours. Yeah. You know, but it was a fun phone call.
Absolutely.
You know, and we did the Zoom and wrote all the policies right then and there.
Okay, but typically an hour.
It's an hour. Yeah, done. And you know,
so you're going through the deal. You're showing them about 4 different options.
Yeah, I have all my illustrations. After I get done with my PowerPoint, we dive right into the illustrations, and you know, we talk about all the important things. We talk about the historical returns on the index. Yeah. Okay, so they have to see what that number is. We talk about the maximum illustrated rate, because by law we can only illustrate it at a certain number, right? Yep. So when we get into the illustrations, they can expect those numbers to be quite higher. You know, no one has a crystal ball, and I'm very clear about that. We go over the guaranteed amounts, because by law you have to show them that. Say, hey, listen, if the whole world goes to hell,
you're still getting this. Yeah.
You're not losing your money,
right? But
you're not going to make any money, right? But you're still going to have life insurance, really good policy, and you're still going to have living benefits, and your money's safe and sound. There you go. And then we talk about the average rate right now, current illustrated rate, and that's when they get blown away, you know. And you show them, you know, what that money is, actual touching to them after 12 months. I mean, like, listen, you know, this is your money. You know, you can take it out, and then I basically just say, listen, how do you want to proceed? You know, I'm soft shoe, you know, and 90% of the time I'll be like, listen, the underwriting's going to take a long time because they're super busy and they're slow. So unless you're Superman, you're not getting approved. I mean, like, I've never, you know, it's seldom that happens. Yeah. So, it's nice because in, some states we have the temporary insurance agreement. So you're covered right now, even though you're not paying for it, as long as you didn't have any commensurate fraud on this application.
Yeah, as long as you didn't lie to me.
Right. So as long as you didn't commit fraud right now, you're going to be covered. And, we'll just see what happens when the offer comes. I'll call you up and we'll put it in, you can tell me how to proceed at that point. And, they'll always be like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So actually, the day after I got back from the cruise, I was talking to a guy, and he was in Pomfret. That's right around here.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. About half hour, 40
minutes. Great guy.
Away.
He's from Ghana. He was a nurse practitioner. Great guy. And people from Ghana love insurance. That's like great people too. Awesome. So, anyways, I know everything about that country. Agra is the capital. They eat like that. What's that stuff? The fufu. Yeah. It's great. I've eaten tons of that in my day.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, the great loving people, So anyways, we did the discovery call, and he was like, okay. I'm like, okay, so the next question is, when do you want to get back together? He's like, for what? And I'm like, well, so I can go over the Zoom. He's like, I don't need a Zoom. I want to do it right now. And I'm like, all right, we just wrote the policy. So, so it's easy, So
now you mentioned though, you're going, so it's kind of 3-part deal. You got the phone call where you kind of do some discovery. You find out if yes, it's going to be a
good fit.
A good fit. Then you're doing your Zoom where you're writing the application is the goal. And then you're actually going out and delivering the policy in person.
Yeah. I think that's non-negotiable because I want to put eyes on the client. I want them to meet me, and I mean, like literally, I get mad referrals.
I bet.
Yeah, and plus I can sell other products.
Right.
If their mother needs a Medicare policy, or they want solar, or anything else I do. I can squeeze the lemon. Hey, the hardest thing to come by is a good lead, right?
Right.
So lead acquisition is tough, and I believe in the Indians. They use the whole animal, right? Don't have any waste, and that's what I always try to preach to all my agents. Like, listen, if you're in the house and you have a client, keep that relationship close to the vest, so you can get their family members, get their mother in Florida, get their father, get their kids, get everybody.
Right.
You want to be the guy.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Great. And I mean that. I'm not surprised that. When you first said it, I was a little surprised. You said you didn't have any chargebacks, on IULs. But that last step, I promise you, is probably a big reason why you don't. Is going out, delivering the policy, sitting down. Because a lot of times they just get the policy in the mail.
Yeah.
They may forgot half the shit you told them on the call, and they look at it as another bill, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's $400 a month. We don't really need that. But you going back out to meet with them to answer any questions, because there's always buyers remorse, right?
There's a big reason why I do it. So here's the secret with the IULs. So a lot of these people have the best intentions when you're on the call, right?
Yep.
Like they'll say $1,000 a month, right? So that's the only number they remember, right? And I've seen this with some of my downline agents that are doing IULs. A lot of times when it comes to issuing the policy, the people will go disappear, right? They'll go ghost on them. And he'll be like trying to call them. He'll have me calling them. Because you have to frame this in the right way. So we only get paid on MGP, right? That's the minimum guaranteed premium of the life insurance policy. I don't care if they pay the $1,000.
Right.
You know what I care about? They have to pay the MGP, because then I'm going to get paid all of my money, and they're going to be super comfortable. So a lot of times when I bring the policy out to them, or I call them and they have an offer, I'll be like, hey, the underwriter made you an offer. Your policy is going to go into force. They're going to draft the premium in the next couple of days. Let me ask you a very important question. Are you able to fully fund that to the $1,000 limit, or do you want to start off at the MGP, the minimum premium? And if they say minimum premium, what do I care?
Right.
It's like, no problem. Here, let's do it right now. Let's call let's call in. They're open till 8:00. I call in. I set that premium up. I have no problems with that.
No.
Because guess what? Then I just say, okay, now you can do everything on your phone. I set your phone up when I see you. The phone app, you're in control.
You set it up for them.
Yeah, of course. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It comes in the policy package. It gives them a little thing they just scan.
Right.
It puts the app on their phone anyways. So
Yeah,
it's super simple. And, the thing I like about the IULs is listen, I love my, final expense clients. I mean, I grooved my teeth on that client base. Sure. He sat on numerous Cheetos and had multiple cats on my shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
And like parrots, and, sat on bedpans in one room, 200-degree apartments, and
good old days.
Listen, gave hugs when I left, and those people are my dearest friends
Yeah.
and my clients to this day. But, listen, it's a clean business because you're not getting that chargeback carousel.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with people that, have a flexible premium. They're not locked in a little box. And, listen, even when they call you with your lead campaign and they're older, they don't qualify, you still have multiple options. You can still sell them a final expense policy because you're going to find most of these people don't have insurance, or you're going to uncover annuities. And that's how I got on the cruise. You know, it's just like I've had a huge annuity year this year off of this IUL platform. So many cases, like right before the cruise that week, I wrote a huge IUL, and I also converted like 5 people with annuities because people are scared right now. Look what the market's doing today.
Right.
And look what it did on Friday. I mean, that's real loss.
Absolutely.
That's real loss, man. And I literally, on the way down here, I had my girl, Tamika from Florida. She just got her money out from Empower. We've been fighting with them for 3 weeks on an annuity, a big one. And she called me up today, and she's like, oh, my God. She's like, thank God we got that.
Timing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that would have cost me just that one day.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, so it's a great product. You're going to have a great persistency with it. It's going to pay you good. You're going to make really good connections with your clients, and you're going to uncover a lot of other opportunities, annuity and final expense. I mean, I think it hits it out of the park in every way.
Yeah. And
you can use IULs for final expense. I mean, it's cheaper than a final expense policy, but again, I want to warrant that they have to be healthy, guys.
Healthy. Yep.
Healthy. If you have a healthy 69-year-old person, you can get them in an IUL, and you're, especially if you're looking at a premium problem, where they're like, oh man, it's a lot of money. You can switch them and give them $25,000 with living benefits, for basically half the cost of that, final expense plan you're going to throw at them. But,
right.
So it's great.
Well, great stuff, man. I appreciate you coming down and doing this.
Man.
Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah.
IUL boot camp, and just don't be afraid to try new stuff. Just get out there.
Yeah,
just
don't be afraid of it. And IUL boot camp, your admin's not going to let you sign up with any of the carriers anyways. We don't do it. So you're going to have to go through that training anyways and watch it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And watch everything on YouTube, everything from all the other producers. Take a little bit of something from each one of them.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, thanks again, Luke. Guys, thanks for tuning in. You know where to find us every week right here on The Next Level. We'll see you next week. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good stuff, dude.
Thanks, brother.
Love it.